Let's talk about Alexei Navalny and the fact that he lost his life last week. It's thought murdered by the Russian regime. Somebody who knows all about that, Marina Litvinenko, who lost her husband back in 2006 now,
2006.
Alexander. When this sort of thing happens, it must take you straight back there.
It was shocking news, but very strange feeling, because you can't expect anything else from Putin. And when Alexei Navalny became a host and he was in prison, and when he was arrested, you knew all his life was now in danger. But when we received this news, it was absolutely shocked. And I was so angry because Putin killed again. He killed again the most prominent politician and a hope of new Russia.
Do you have any doubt who could be responsible?
I have not any doubt. Since 2000, when we just came to UK and say, is this now a different time for Russia? Putin is a monster. After my husband was killed in 2006, it was not even more questions. But now we have another victim, Alexei Navalny. But we have to remember another one. In few days, it would be Boris Nemtsov, who was a prominent politician killed from Kremlin. And we still have another political prisoners who is now in Russia, and their life in danger too.
What needs to happen to effect change in Russia?
This need to be all reacted, not only say we are very sorry, we regret, and we have a sympathy. It's not enough. And now we have a very serious act. It's a war against Ukraine. And everything what has happened in Ukraine now, it might reflect to Russia and help people in Russia finally to achieve result and change this regime. But Ukraine fight not every time be supported, and it need to be support. It need to be supported by West, and this is every time discussion. Ukraine needs these weapons, they need these supplies. But it needed to be, because only if Ukraine will win in this front line, it might some change in Russia.
Do you ever fear of speaking out and what might happen?
I don't. How we can be fair? It's exactly what Alexei Navalny said. It's what Putin wants from us, to be fair. Just stop doing what we need to do. And if you have to say this, I can't be, of course, we never will say what might happen to us. But being here in UK, how I can be silent, particularly what happened up with my husband. What I'm saying now about Alexei Navalny, it's my duty for what I'm saying about my husband, and to remind people, even living here in London, your life might be in danger too, if you'll be silent and don't say nothing against this regime of Putin.
Do you not fear what might happen?
I'm more thinking about people living in Russia. They have a more dangerous life, but they're still walking outside. They're still saying something, what they think about Putin. And they need support. And we are living here in the West. We need to support these people in Russia to do something more what Russian people inside of Russia are able to do.
What more can Western governments do? I mean, the sanctions there's very little more that can be done as far as sanctions are concerned.
But sanctions, it's good. But when you just say we sanctioned, but you never checked how these sanctions works, because it was a lot of investigation already. After sanctions, it still be some Western companies supply Russian economy with a very essential stuff what is used in a war. And this is a big question. Does it work, sanctions, or not? If you say it's a sanctions, you need to check how does it work. And all this discussion, how much we need to help to Ukraine, or we need to start to build our own army, it's exactly the same. You have an army in Ukraine, and you don't need to think you have to fight with Russia. You need to avoid it. If Ukrainian army would be strong, you will be never ever need to fight against Russia, because Russia would be different, and you don't need to fight with Russia.
I've known you a long time. I've known you since
2006,
2006.
And you've been my first TV presenter. I decided to give interview.
I remember.
And I do understand Yulia Navalny, what she does feel now, and when she needed to speak in front of this audience in a Munich conference. And it was exactly the day when her husband died. It was difficult because I have just so difficult moment to decide to talk to people. And thank you. You did it.
Thank you. You and Alexander stood up against Putin. We've seen Alexei and his wife stand up against Putin. Now both your husbands are dead. Your sister's in arms. What more can you do together to try to move on so that this, in your opinion, this bloody murderer is moved out of control of Russia?
I would say not just us, and I would already remind Boris Nemtsov, 27th February, it would be date when he was killed, and his daughter, Zhana Nemtsova, is a very active and outspoken. But I think we have to think about other political prisoners in Russia who are in danger, and this Vladimir Karamurza and his wife Evgenia, he is very much outspoken. And I think after what happened to Alexei Navalny, life of Vladimir Karamurza in a very, very big danger. And I would like to remind, he's a British citizen, and he is now stay in prison for 25 years after being 2 times poisoned. And we need to talk about this. We need to do everything to save life of these people. Otherwise, Putin's regime will achieve this result. If this, the most bravest people would be killed, other people would be silent.
What about, I wondered if you had a word for Alexei's mother, who has gone to try to retrieve the body of her son and has been stopped from doing so.
I don't know how she's doing this, because she saw her son just a few days ago, and he was alive. He was speaking to her, making jokes, and in 2 days he received this news he died. And she has a power to go back to see his body, and now it's not chance. And this regime manipulate, try to say it's not here, we make this movement to another place, but she's very strong. And I think she will stay and try to do to the last minute to find where is her son. And what was important to all people around the world, to keep this attention. It should not be news for 1, 2, 3 days. I know how many things happen every day, but we need to pay attention for what is happening. It makes people feel supported. We need all-time support to do something bigger.
How's your handsome son?
Oh, he's on my blog, and he is now a young man, and I'm very happy to say he found his place in his life. And this was exactly what Sasha asked me when he's still alive. Please, Marina, be with our son Anatoly and help him. And now I can say to Sasha, yes, I did it.
He'd be very proud of his little boy, I'm sure, wherever he is right now.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you as always. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.